Hello guys, this is the second part of my game reviews. Not very much reviews but opinions, and it's Diana doing here. The game we're going to talk about now is one of my other all-time favorites. It is a game that, along with Terranigma, it was the father of all role-playing games. It is Chrono Trigger. It was released in 1995, like Terranigma, and it is the main story is that you're Chrono, and you discover time travel accidentally, and by traveling in time, you realize that events which may happen for some reason affect what will happen in the future. So you're going to have to adjust things in the past to make the future better. The whole story is much more complex than that, and you'll have to discover it playing with yourself. As you've noticed, the character design is it's very nice. It's the character designer, I can't remember his name right now, but he's the same that drew Dragon Ball and Arali and Dragon Quest characters. He's a very good drawer in my opinion. And there are 7 playable characters, and my favorite was Isla, and she's a prehistorical woman. She has no magic because magic wasn't invented yet when she was born, and you meet her when you go in 65 million before Christ. See, she's a chief of her tribe, and they're constantly fighting against intelligent dino people, the reptiles, which are led by Azala. Only one of the two races is destined to survive, and Ala is determined to make sure that humans succeed. Ala is physically the strongest character in the game. However, she isn't able to equip any weapons, and she isn't able to use any magic. Although she does employ in several tactics based on physical strengths. Like if she is on the team with Marl, they can use a very strong ice attack together. And then we have Marl, which is the healer of the group, and she has very strong magics as well. Marl is actually Princess Nadia of the Guardia Kingdom, strong-willed and independent, and fed up with her royal life. She decides to run away from her castle. At the Millennium Fair, she meets up with Chrono, and their meeting will eventually change the course of history. It probably comes to no surprise that Mara, with her crossbow, is a weak character physically. Her main role is definitely that of a healer, although she can also learn ice magic. Okay, then we have the other characters, but I'm not going to ruin the surprise for you. And this game is very interesting, and let me just tell you that there is a part of it where a very powerful person has an item which you need, but his family is known for being very stingy and greedy. What you have to do in that moment is go and buy a beef jerky. Then you go back in the past, and instead of selling the beef jerky to their ancestors, you give it as a gift. That way even the nephews will become generous, and they will give you the item you're looking for as a gift. This game has very complex fighting style. It is active turn-based, like Final Fantasies. And the enemies are going to attack, and they won't wait for you. And it's based on leveling up your character, just like Terranigma and As Your Dreams were. And there are many important things and many secrets you'll discover. This game's story is very, very deep, although the characters aren't as deeply developed as many other games, meaning I did not get that attached to the characters. Just like it is the same problem which Chrono Cross had, which is the game which came after Chrono Trigger, and it was for PS1. But it wasn't as successful as this one. It was just a sequel, a 3D sequel, which was kind of cute, but nothing special. And so this is Chrono Trigger. Oh, what's particular as Chrono Trigger is that it has lots of different endings based on when you fight the enemy, and you can choose when to fight him. And once, because in a certain moment you won't have Chrono in your body anymore, I won't tell you why. And I thought that I was supposed to go and fight the final enemy. I did, and I defeat him. But then I realized that I've got the ending without Chrono. And I was like, no. That's okay, it was an experience. And what's also very cool about this game is that you're not forced to have the main character with you all the time after you lose him and get him back, if you don't decide to end the game before that, just like me. So you can make a team of more characters without including Chrono, which can be very interesting because I found that he was a bit a character that was too balanced. So I enjoyed not having him in the team sometimes. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about what probably is my favorite PlayStation game. I played with it more than I did with Terranigma because I had it whilst I don't have Terranigma. And I've been thinking of adding Terranigma to a wish list. I'll have to go work and get it for myself. And Breath of Fire and blah blah blah, where is it? I've opened so many pages. Breath of Fire was released in Japan in 1997 and in Europe in 1998. It was later re-released in Japan and in Europe for PlayStation Portable, PSP. And this is a very, very long and deep game. And this game's longevity can compete with Chrono Triggers and Terranigmas. I love long games. As you might have understood already, I am extremely fond of long games, games with battles which are not immediate. I'm not much into action games, so Terranigma is probably one of the exceptions. Breath of Fire is considered very slow in battles, and it wasn't very popular back then because it has two prequels, Breath of Fire 1 and 2, which were for Super Nintendo. But those hadn't been a great success, basically because they were good games but nothing special. And they were released when Final Fantasies were. This one, I think, can easily compete with Final Fantasy VII. The story of Final Fantasy actually was a bit deeper, but Breath of Fire is so classic, it's so different, that simply makes me prefer it over Final Fantasy. It's also a lot harder. I like hard games. I like hard RPGs because when an RPG is hard, it makes you grow and attach to characters a lot more. So it's a third game of Breath of Fire series. It has three-dimensional environments and effects. You can learn skills from enemies just by watching them. And you can become an apprentice to masters so that they will raise your statistics by leveling up. The main story is that you're Ryu and you wake up as a dragon in an abandoned mine, and you get caught, but you manage to run away after burning up a couple of people. A young thief, which is a were-tiger, finds you, but you don't know yet, and you'll know very soon. He finds you in the woods, you're all naked, you're a naked little blue-haired boy. He takes you home, and where you find Tipu, which is another little thief, and I'm not going to tell you who he is though. And then they give you something to wear, and they go to the closest village to raid the houses and to try and steal something to eat. The story develops from that, and you realize that you can turn into a dragon, and because something very bad will happen to Ray and Tipu, and you will go looking for them. And while going to look for them, you realize you can turn into a dragon in moments of need. Like in all Breath of Fires, we'll have Nina, which is a Windian princess. She cannot fly like other Windians could, and like they can in Breath of Fire 4, because she can fly. And the battles are quite simple. I mean, simple as a system, but it's quite hard to end the game. You'll have to level up a lot. I love that you can. I'm going to put a video into editing so that I can make times faster. Anyway, I'll keep talking. And a feature I love of this game is that you can fish. You can fish, and games and the fish which you'll get will be very useful for curing yourself, for fighting, for many other things. This is a very, very deep and long game. You'll grow extremely attached to characters. You can turn into a dragon, and you can mix the genes, thus making yourself stronger against some types and more AP consuming. The graphics are great. Honestly, it's my types of graphics. As you can see, I would like all games to have graphics like this. I hope you can see the images. I'll zoom in a little. Okay. They're deeper than they look. Oh well. And this is what the game looks like. So this game is for PS1 or PSP, so I highly advise you get it for yourself. I hope this is one of my favorites. Then we're going to go on to another all-time favorite of mine. I know that I will be kind of it's obvious it's one of my favorites, and it is Final Fantasy VII. I'm not too fond of the graphics because it's just too 3D for me. And of course we're going to go look at my favorite character, and I think she was everyone's favorite character. And she's also my blood type because I'm 0. And anyway, I think most of you know Final Fantasy VII story. It is about an ex-soldier, Cloud, who joins Avalanche, whose members are Jazz, Wedge, Biggs, Bart, and Tifa. And he gets hired as a mercenary after he leaves soldier. For those of you who played Final Fantasy Core, the Final Fantasy for PSP, I know that you know a different story. We all do know a different story, but this is a story told in Final Fantasy VII. So if you played Final Fantasy VII for PS1, this one, I sort of advise you play the one for PSP, but I personally didn't enjoy it very much because I just realized how Zack was basically betrayed in this game. Okay, so you join them, and basically you start bursting up in these Mako reactors, which are in Midgar, and they provide energy by sucking the planet's life. Shinra is the company behind all this. And after you exit Midgar because you raid the Shinra headquarters, you have Cloud. And before that, so many things happen. Um, I think one of the game's best parts are when you are with Iris. Every moment when you're with Iris is beautiful. And you have to dress up Cloud as a woman in order to get in Don Corneo's mansion. And that part is just so funny because you have to get the wigs, the collar, and so many other things because you have to get the brooch and the dress and you have to ask them for the right dress. You have to compete with other people for the best wig. This game is amazing, trust me. And the battle system is amazing because it's active turn battles and the monsters can attack you anytime and the timer still goes by, you know, the little timer thingy, even when you're selecting things, because during playing with Final Fantasy VIII, when you're selecting things from the fight menu, time stops and that makes battles a little too slow for me. And although I'm not too fond of action games, this is a good, it's a good halfway between. And you can equip weapons and armors and accessories. It's just those three. But you can extremely personalize the character's equipments through materials. Materials are condensed mako. You know what's funny is that I'm talking about all this just out of memory. I remember all of this just because I've played it so many times. And I'm so in love with video games mainly. And especially these ones I'm talking to you about. So there's materia. We have different types of materia. We have yellow, green, blue, and purple. And that's it. And red. It's summon, skills, support, independent, and summons. Magic or summons. I don't know which one I said. And summons, when equipping them, they give you different status changes, such as they raise your MPs and your magic statistic, but they lower your HPs and your strength. But they give you the ability to summon summons during fights based on how many stars your materia has earned. You can summon as many times. And about magic, there is many curative magics and attack magics, and the yellow materials are skill materials, which can give you extra abilities such as steal, throw, mug. There's just so many. Many Final Fantasy players were disappointed to see that there was no jump materia in Final Fantasy. Actually, seeing all dragoons and so many, jump passionates in Final Fantasies, it was quite weird not to find it. It would be nice to have it. Then we have support materia and independent materia. They give you independent materia is like HP plus and MP plus, which you buy for the first time in Cosmo Canyon. And support materia is like elemental all materia. All materia is extremely important because you're going to master it to sell it. It's only 34,000 AP to master. And you can sell it for 1,400,000, and you will need it when you'll be training chocobos. Because yes, you can train chocobos to make them race at the gold saucer. Final Fantasy VII is a great game because of chocobos, and because you'll be spending the first disc trying to have a girl like you, because you're going to have that final date at the gold saucer. Don't have the date with Iris. Just don't, because you're gonna cry a lot, and that's all I'm gonna say. Okay, so I'm going to post the links of these videos, of these sites I visited. It's mostly RPG shrines, and another one for Breath of Fire Wiki. I'm just going to post them and thank the creators of this website, because I would be lost without walkthroughs, and just because I just liked something to read. Thank you very much. This was Diana Dew, and I wish you a great night. Goodbye.